Monday, January 29th, and this is your HAN Network Coffee Break. Good morning. I'm Frank Granito, and I'm bringing you all the top stories from around Fairfield County from this morning and this weekend, including multiple accidents in Trumbull and Monroe, a Fairfield daycare owner sentenced to 30 months in prison, students in Ridgefield voicing their opinions on potential budget cuts, and much more. Donald Ang steps in to take a look back on this day in history, and Kevin Coleman will have a weather and sports report for you. But first, a Milford man was arrested Friday in connection with an alleged sexual assault. Thursday, the Milford Police Department's Special Investigations Unit was assigned to investigate a possible sexual assault reported to have happened during the early morning hours that day. A search warrant led to the arrest of a 22-year-old Christian Figueroa of Maplewood Avenue in Milford, who police said knew the victim. Police said that there was what they called inappropriate contact when the two were together. Figueroa was charged with unlawful restraint, fourth-degree sexual assault, illegal sale of a controlled substance, and possession of a controlled substance. Police also said Figueroa was also charged Friday with assaulting a police officer after he allegedly spit on an officer several times after asking his handcuffs be adjusted. Milford police said Figueroa has been arrested a number of times since 2014 with charges including drug violations, shoplifting, and assault. Up in Trumbull, a Naugatuck man was arrested early Monday after state police said they found 8 pounds of marijuana after he nearly struck a stopped cruiser. State police said 21-year-old Jonathan Venn was driving a Volkswagen Passat that nearly hit a cruiser stopped on Route 8 south in Trumbull. Troopers pulled over Venn's vehicle and said he turned over a small amount of marijuana he admitted he was carrying. Troopers searched the car and said they found a large plastic container with 8 pounds of marijuana inside. State police said Yen told troopers the marijuana had been mailed to him so he could sell it. Yen was charged with possession of more than 1 kilogram of marijuana with the intent to sell and possession of a controlled substance. He was held in lieu of a $100,000 bond. And firefighters in Trumbull had a busy 36 hours responding to 5 alarms and 3 crashes, 2 of which were serious, between Friday and midday on Saturday. Our credit to the Long Hill Volunteer Fire Department for the photos. You can watch more on these updates at TrumbullTimes.com. And in Monroe, firefighters responded to 2 accidents on Saturday, including this one near the intersection of Route 110 and Old Tannery. 1 person was injured. No extrication was required. Our credit to the Monroe Volunteer Fire Department for those photos. And you can watch MonroeCourier.com for more updates. Staying in Monroe, police made yet another arrest in the theft of more than $4,000 from the owners of Dunkin' Donuts Baskin-Robbins on Route 25. 30-year-old Giovanni C. Beeman, whose last known address was New Haven, surrendered to police on Tuesday, January 16th after learning there was a warrant for her arrest on charges of third-degree forgery and fifth-degree larceny. Police said the charges stem from separate incidents on August 10th. They say Beeman was among several people who cashed fraudulent checks from the People's Bank account of Monroe Coffee, LLC, owner of the Dunkin' Donuts Baskin-Robbins off of Route 25. Police said Beeman cashed a check for more than $900. This latest arrest comes a month after police arrested both 36-year-old John Edward Kelly Jr. and 27-year-old Nishira Davis in connection with this forgery case. Police said they expect more arrests, adding that a People's Bank investigation revealed that 13 checks signed by Kelly, Davis, Beeman, and other individuals were cashed fraudulently, taking more than $4,000 from the owner's bank account. In New Canaan, a White Plains, New York man faces a weapons charge after New Canaan police said they saw a 10-inch long knife in his vehicle when they stopped him for speeding Sunday evening. Police said they stopped a vehicle that was traveling 45 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone on Old Stamford Road shortly after 7 o'clock. As officers approached the car, driven by 32-year-old Jeffrey McKay, They said they saw on the front passenger's floor a large black knife with a serrated portion exposed. New Canaan police measured the blade at 10 inches and that any blade longer than 4 inches is considered to be a weapon inside a motor vehicle. Carol Cardillo, the owner of a Fairfield daycare, has been sentenced to 30 months in prison for killing a 4-month-old Shelton boy with an overdose of Benadryl. Hearst, Connecticut media reported that Cardillo, speaking out for the first time, never admitted she had killed the toddler, but rather told the judge and the infant's family she was sorry for their loss. The 54-year-old Cardillo, who operated the unlicensed daycare out of her Edgewood Road home for 11 years, pleaded no contest to second-degree manslaughter for the March 22, 2016 death of Adam Siegel. She had faced up to 5 years in prison. Cardillo initially lied to police, denying she gave the boy Benadryl, an over-the-counter medication doctors say should never be given to young children. Senior Assistant Attorney Colleen Zingaro told the judge the autopsy revealed that the baby had 41,000 nanograms per milliliter of Benadryl in his system. 5,000 nanograms per milliliter and above is a reportable limit. Zingaro said Cardillo repeatedly denied giving the baby Benadryl and she did not have any in her home. However, records investigators obtained from CVS Pharmacy showed that between January 1, 2013 and May 24, 2016, Cardillo purchased 90 bottles of Benadryl, the last one purchased a week before the baby died. And Massac High School students are lobbying for standing desks. Debate club members Manea Friend and Catherine Simonowic presented a Monroe Board of Education with a petition bearing 100 students' signatures and studies showing that allowing students to stand would be an academic benefit. To demonstrate, Simonowic asked the board and members of the audience to stand up, and once all were up, she asked the people to consider their average workday with sitting for some 8 hours. Friends said they looked into the cost and found that such tables run from $75 to $100. One in particular is the Adapta-Table, which fits 2 people. Friends said the funds could come from the same amount used to purchase common furniture, but even more cost savings could be found if the woodworking class were to build tables, leaving the only cost of materials. The class could also be available to repair the desks. Let's pause for a moment there and take a second to check in with Kevin Coleman, who has your Monday morning weather report. Good morning, Kevin. How are things starting to look out there?
Things are starting to look okay. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming cloudy during the afternoon hours. A few flurries and a possible snow shower is possible for tonight with a low of 26. Looking towards tomorrow, a few snow showers scattered about the area in the morning. Otherwise, a good deal of clouds throughout the day, a high of 37. And on Wednesday, mostly sunny skies along with a few afternoon clouds, a high of 34. That will do it for your weather update. Frank, back to you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. It looked like we could see some snow at the end of the week as well, so we'll certainly keep an eye out for that. We're also keeping an eye out on more Fairfield County news this morning. Stay with us, and we will be right back after this.
Voted best gourmet to go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Yeah, Dad.
Kyle, I need you to update the financial statements.
I took care of that yesterday, Dad.
Mac, I need you to get those deals approved.
They're all done, Mr. Miller.
Jeff, I need you to order lunch for the meeting. They can't do a thing without me.
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
I'm never going to retire.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet. 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
We are back on this Monday edition of your Coffee Break. It is January 29th, and it is time for us to look back on this day in history with our very own Donald Eng. Don, good morning.
Good morning, Frank. You know, it's amazing how much things change in just about a decade. But first, we're going to go all the way back to 1820. King George III dies in seclusion at Windsor Castle. Now, we think of George as being the bumbling king that the 13 colonies rebelled against, and he was. But he was also a lot more than that. He reigned about 60 years. And at the time of the American Revolution, George was already showing signs of the mental illness that would result in him essentially retiring from public life a few years later. Now, George's insanity was probably the result of hereditary illness based on the royal practice of marrying cousins. In case you're wondering, the current royal family is called the House of Windsor, but it is directly descended from the same German family as George. The House of Hanover changed its name to the House of Windsor in 1917 due to the anti-German sentiment in England. The family took the name House of Windsor literally from the house they lived in. 1845 now, The Raven, published in the Evening Mirror under the name of the author Edgar Allan Poe. Now, the familiar theme is a young man's descent into insanity at the death of a loved one. But by 1845, Edgar Allan Poe's wife, Virginia, was increasingly suffering from tuberculosis that she had first been diagnosed with 3 years earlier and that she would die from in 1847 at the age of 24. Her illness, very likely the reason why Poe's writings increasingly centered on the death of a young woman. Poe was paid $9 for the poem, the equivalent of about $3,000 today. 1850, Henry Clay introduces the Compromise of 1850 to the U.S. Congress. Now, the compromise broke a 4-year stalemate between slave and free states and included 5 main provisions. Texas gives up claims to what is now New Mexico. Utah and New Mexico organized into territories with slavery put to a popular vote. California admitted as a free state. The fugitive slave law strengthened, and the slave trade, but not slavery itself, outlawed in Washington, D.C. Now, Henry Clay would die 2 years later, but a political rival would write after the Civil War that had there been one such man in Congress as Henry Clay in 1860, there would, I feel, have been no Civil War. Finally, now we go to 1997. Take a nostalgic look at this.
I love to get online and it says, you have mail.
You can get the weather, you can talk gardening.
America Online makes doing all the things you do easier.
Check my stocks, sports scores.
You can buy flowers, you can buy a lot of stuff.
America Online, simple to install, friendly menus, easy to use. And we've been working night and day to increase capacity 75%, all to make your online experience easier.
And I sent my daughter an email. She couldn't believe it.
America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Number 1, America Online. Under threat of lawsuit from 37 state attorney generals, America Online, the world's largest internet provider at the time, agrees to pay refunds to millions of customers following the company's decision to replace its hourly rate with a flat $19.95 monthly fee. Network traffic jams resulted in millions of customers being unable to log on. Within 3 years, AOL was in financial trouble, by the way, with the decline of dial-up internet service. AOL is currently a subsidiary of Verizon and in the process of being merged with Yahoo. That is your look back in history for today, January 29th, and I'm Don Lee.
All right, Don, how much of that financial trouble do you think had to do with the dial-up noise?
You don't miss that at all, do you?
No, that is the one part of AOL we don't miss. I wouldn't mind having instant messenger back there, Don. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, and this just in, New Britain Mayor Erin Stewart has announced she will explore a run for governor. The Republican is the youngest female mayor in America, this according to her Twitter account. Getting back to local news, a leading advocate for a proposed dog park in Stratford has died. John Rich, a retired respiratory therapist and paramedic for Stratford EMS, was well known, particularly in Lordship, and was the co-chairman of the Stratford Dog Park Subcommittee. He had other dog park supporters celebrated last March at Town Hall after the Town Council approved the placement of the dog park in Roosevelt Forest at the site of an old ranger station. Rich also ran for office last year as he sought the Democratic nomination for 1st District Town Council. Watch StratfordStar.com for information on the services. Also in Stratford, a meeting for a proposed roundabout near Two Roads Brewery is scheduled for 6:30 this evening. The reconstruction of the intersection of Stratford Avenue and Honey Spot Road is in the design stage and may be recommended for construction under the state's Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program by the State Department of Transportation. A census taken last week found 20 homeless people living in Milford. They may be seeking refuge in an emergency shelter, such as the city's No Free shelter, or they may be sleeping in a tent in the woods. The Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development directed a count of the homeless sheltered, or not, on a single night in January. The count includes people who are sheltered in emergency shelters, transitional housing, and safe havens on a single night. In Milford, participants went to the local library before it closed to see how many homeless were there, because that is one place people are known to find shelter. Last year, the number was 26, and while it might suggest 6 people found housing, it more likely means people moved in to other communities. There's much more on this story at milfordmirror.com. And students in Ridgefield are speaking out against the possibility of cutting spring sports due to budget issues. Students told the Board of Education last week that cutting academic programs and spring sports would be disruptive and unfair to Ridgefield students and athletes. They attended the school board meeting in response to an online story by the Ridgefield Press that outlined Superintendent Karen Baldwin's proposed 2017-2018 budget cuts if the district did not receive an estimated $1.2 million special appropriation from the Board of Finance. Baldwin told the Finance Board January 16th the district would consider layoffs or cutting spring sports if its appropriation request was denied. On social media, the district denied plans to cut spring sports, despite the superintendent's interview with the press. The district posted, Ridgefield Press reported last week that Dr. Baldwin stated spring sports could be cut. This was not the case and is not currently an option being considered, the district said via its Twitter account. The current school year budget is facing a potential shortfall of some $1.2 million. Definitely not getting cut from the budget is our athlete of the week, and it is Monday, so Kevin Coleman has our winners for week 3 of the winter season. Kevin, take it away.
Thank you. I don't think their away messages are on anymore. Their AIM, I will agree with you, I do miss those days. RIP to AIM. But anyway, these folks, you got 2 great athletes here who are your week 4 athlete of the week winners. On the male side, it was Matt Houghton from Fairfield Ward boys basketball. Houghton made 8 of 9 3-pointers and finished the game with 24 points when the Ward Mustangs defeated the Wilton Warriors 75-58 in the marquee FCAC game of the week last Thursday. And on the female side, it was Sydney Falterer of Fairfield girls ice hockey. Falterer came up huge, stopping 24 of 25 shots in Fairfield's 2-1 win over SWS. With the win, Fairfield remain in the top 4 of the FCAC standings. And 2 big scores. We had a lot going on this weekend in the FCAC, but 2 big scores that stood out to me from Friday night. In girls basketball, big shout out to the Darien Blue Wave, big winners over the Richfield Tigers 47-37. And in boys basketball, the Danbury Hatters, a big win at home over Fairfield Ward on Friday night, 73-66. Fiore had 26 points for the Blue Wave leading the way, and Jordan Brown had 29 points leading the way for the Hatters Friday night. And of course, that'll do it for your Nutmeg Sports Update. No Nutmeg Sports today, but we'll be live from Wilton High School tomorrow. The marquee matchup of the week in boys basketball. It's the rivalry game, the rematch of the 2017 FCAC final between the Richfield Tigers and the Wilton Warriors. Will be live at the Z. It's going to be a zoo there. We can't wait. Tip-off is at 5:15. We'll be live with Nutmeg Sports tomorrow afternoon, so it's going to be a fun one, Frank, and that'll do it for your update. Back to you.
Of course, we've got that big one tomorrow. Thank you, Kevin. And we'll also have the FCAC Indoor Track and Field Championships Thursday night. There'll be plenty more on that later on in the week. There's plenty more local news still to come on this morning's coffee break. And in the spirit of the AOL away messages, I'll leave you this one, BRB.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com. Well,
Welcome back to your Monday morning coffee break. It is January 29th, and I'm Frank Renito bringing you the top stories from around Fairfield County, including animal rights activists who protested outside State Superior Court in Norwalk during hearings on the killing of 2 bears in Wilton, say they will push for stricter state laws. Annie Hornish, State Director for the Humane Society of the United States, said the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has made no effort to increase poaching penalties, which she called unacceptably weak. She said she hopes to increase penalties for poaching and to block DEEP's efforts to allow what she called trophy hunting of bears. Marguerite Tucker O'Connor of Wilton, who helped lead the local protests and ordered many of the printed signs, said she will join Hornish at the state level. A Superior Court judge in Norwalk on January 10th granted alleged bear poacher Antonio Leo of Wilton accelerated rehabilitation, a pretrial intervention program that will place him on probation for 2 years, after which his record will be expunged. Leo, 28 years old, must avoid further arrest for the next 2 years, and his hunting license will be suspended for the duration. He must also perform 40 hours of public service within the next year, according to the ruling by Judge Alex Hernandez. He was facing 2 counts of illegal taking of black bear and 1 count of 4th-degree negligent hunting. And the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sees the former Raymark ball field in Stratford as ripe for redevelopment. The EPA has placed the project on its redevelopment focus list. The Raymark project is one of 2 Superfund projects in New England and 31 nationwide that are considered to have the greatest expected redevelopment and commercial potential, according to a statement from Stratford's Mayor, Loya Hoydick's office. EPA spokeswoman Emily Bender said the EPA will work closely with the town and the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection on focusing on redevelopment opportunities at the Raymark ball field site off of Barnum Avenue. While the EPA will not devote more money to the long-awaited Raymark cleanup plan, Bender said it means more attention for the project. EPA officials decided last year on a cleanup plan for Raymark's waste, which will involve taking contaminated waste from 4 sites in town and capping it at the ball field, where some waste has already been placed. The plan will cost about $95 million. The EPA will be responsible for 90% of the cost, with the remaining 10% to be covered by the state. While Stratford does not have a specific financial outlay, the town may be asked to provide some in-kind services. And on Sunday, Darien First Selectman Jamie Stevenson would not rule out seeking higher office when she appeared on Face the State on WFSB, hosted by Channel 3 anchor Dennis House. There are more updates on that announcement at DarienTimes.com. And finally, a $6,000 donation this month from the Mid-Fairfield County Board of Realtors to the Norwalk River Valley Trail bring trail organizers that much closer to connecting the Wilton and Norwalk segments. Work on portions of a 2-mile section from Wolf Pit Road to Gristmill Road will begin this fall if the trail raises $136,000 by May 1st. With Realtors grant, the trail has raised $100,000 so far, said Charlie Tanney, Executive Director of the Norwalk River and Valley Trail. The Friends of the NRVT must raise a 20% match of the $1.3 million grant from the state. A total of $132,000 must be raised by May 1st, and an additional $132,000 must be raised by September 1st for a total of $264,000. We've got a few minutes left here on your coffee break, so let's take one more look at this afternoon's weather report with our very own Kevin Coleman.
Thank you, Frank. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming cloudy during the afternoon hours as well. A few flurries and snow showers are possible this evening on your commute home. Tonight will be a low of 26. Tomorrow, a few snow showers scattered around the area in the morning hours on your commute to work. Otherwise, a good deal of clouds throughout the afternoon and the rest of the day, a high of 37. And on Wednesday, sunny along with a few afternoon clouds, a high of 34. That will do it for your weather update. Frank, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Again, there's no Nutmeg Sports this afternoon, but keep your eye out for the HAN Network Athlete of the Week nominees for Week 5. Should be up right around 2 o'clock today. As Kevin mentioned, we've got big basketball broadcast coming up tomorrow, a rematch of the FCS Championship 2017. The Indoor Track and Field Championships on Thursday this week. And as always, coffee break, 11 a.m. Right back here tomorrow.